Welcome to More with Gabby, where you always get more, even a double O in more. Girl, have you ever been lied to? Have you ever been told that the more you serve, the more you do for people, even if it's from an empty cup, but you're doing it to help people, that that is being selfless? No, that is being a martyr without a cause. Selfless, pouring from an empty cup, is not selfless. You're just running around empty, pouring nothing to nothing. And it sounds like, yeah, Gabby's just telling me some harsh stuff. Girl, let's have some coffee, right? Let's have some coffee over this. You're you're a martyr without a cause because in order to be selfless, you have to be selfish. You have to be able to pour into yourself so that you can go out there and nourish. See, if I was to cut the faucet, the water going to the faucet that waters my garden, and I'm just throwing air at the garden, do you think it's going to get nourished and grow? No. Well, the same thing with humans, right? If we're pouring from an empty soul, all we're doing is leading to burnout, to resentment, to being mad at life, to be mad with people, and in all reality, to even just be mad with yourself. And then you start something, you quit it, you start, you quit. Let me tell you about Nora. So, see, my friend Nora, which is me when I was younger, went into this interview that she was recommended for. She was recommended to by her director of sales at the time. I went in, I interviewed the general manager like me, the regional like me. However, the person in operations above them looked at my resume and saw that I didn't have enough experience. I was too young for that for fact of matter at the time for him, not because, younger age has to do anything with it. So he didn't interview me. I kept following up, and I was like, what's going on? I don't hear back, nothing. And next thing you know, I get told that he thought I was just too young. I said, okay. I turned around, I took a sales manager position at another hotel. And in 2.5 years, I became a director of sales. I opened the first of its brand in the state of Nevada. We went on and we broke records with that hotel. And then I went back, COVID happened. I went back to that hotel 6 years later. Before that, I actually went to a senior facility where you sell places for senior living. And I excelled there. And every day I would just be upset that I wasn't in hospitality because of COVID, etc. So I decided to go back to the hotel industry. And when I went back, it was so incredible because I went back to this hotel not as a candidate, not as anything else other than the actual director of sales for that hotel. And I was able to flip it around in 30 days. In 30 days, we met our RevPAR, our fair share. We were killing it in the market. And it made me proud because although that person was no longer there, I was able to show that, you know what? I did it. I proved him wrong. He's not even part of this. He's not even part of the company, nothing. But I was able to show that, you know what? I'm not going to identify with what you identify me as. You identified me as young and capable without telling me all of these things. That is what you told me by not interviewing me. So I wasn't going to carry those labels. I wasn't going to identify with that. That wasn't me. And I wasn't about to let that be a person that because of that, now she was a failure, right? And I also wasn't going to let that interfere with my own expectations. Here's the thing. A lot of times we start things, right? And you might be on this situation right now where you're starting things, you quit. You start a new thing about the gym and you quit. You start a new healthy way of eating and you quit. You start a Bible study and you quit, girl. So now not only have you embraced it, you identify with it, but you're also telling yourself that it's okay, that that habit is okay to have and carry with you when it's not. And you tend to say, "Oh, I have a self-confidence issue. I don't have enough confidence, Gabby. I wish I had the confidence that you have." I sit there and I was, girl, you don't have a self confidence issue. You have a self sabotage issue. Hmm. Yes. Yes, you do. You constantly sabotage yourself and you identify with the things that people say. You start your diet and someone else is eating something and you go ahead and do it because they convinced you or they made fun of you or they just don't have your vision. Then you start the gym and someone invites you here and you stay out late and then you can't go to the gym the next day. You made that choice. You let that person know that what they had in store for you was better than the goal that you had for yourself, right? So that's how you self-sabotage every single time. You know, if you write your goal down, according to research, if you write your goal down, you are 42% more likely to accomplish it. However, only 3% of the population actually writes their goal down. And that's why people say, you're lucky, you're the chosen one. No, no, it's not. See, this didn't just start today. I didn't just make this up. This goes way back. We're talking about thousands of years. And I want to relate that to the Bible. And I have a verse right here in Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2, it says, write the vision and make it in plain on tables so that a runner can read it easily. See, God didn't say, think about the vision, imagine the vision, tell your friends about the vision, tell your coworker, tell your boss, tell your people at church. He didn't say that. He said, write it down. Write it down, girl. So then, if your goal is cloudy, your execution will be paralyzed. When it's clear on paper, it gives you the legal authority within yourself to go out there, run, and go after it. If you haven't written it down, you haven't actually decided. It's just a wish list. On Amazon, when you put, or any of these stores, you put, your wish list, your gift registry. It doesn't mean that you have to have it. It's cool if people buy it, if they see it for you, fantastic. And if not, it's okay. Well, the same thing with your goals. If you just talk about it, say it, envision it, think about it, and you don't accomplish it, then you're telling yourself it's okay if it doesn't happen. Right? In Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. Look at the order of operations here. We want our thoughts established before we actually do the work. We want clarity, emotional comfort, and reassurance before we move. But the word says commit. Commit the works first and then thoughts follow. The peace you're looking is for, it's hidden on the other side of obedience. It really is. And so many times we're out there, saying people are lucky. No, it's not luck, girl. It's the fact that we wrote a goal down, we followed obedience and the discipline, and then opportunity met us while we were preparing ourselves. That's the real definition of luck. However, it's easier to say people are lucky than admitting that you are okay with quitting. And that's the difference maker, right? And I know it sounds harsh. I know that, I get it. You can be mad at me. You can curse me out right now if you want to. It doesn't faze me because I know what it takes to get to the goals that you want to get to. That's the difference, right? See, in my 20 years of leadership and coaching, this is exactly what I teach my clients to get results. Number one is set the why. Why does this need to be accomplished? Why do I want this? Because if you don't want it bad enough, your couch is going to be comfortable enough. Your outcome has to outweigh the sacrifice that it will take in order for you to get off that couch and go actually do it. But if you don't have that cost, that burden, like that burning desire in you, why this has to happen, it's not going to happen. So choose wisely. Number two is to set the goal. Write it down. Remember, you're 42% more likely to accomplish it if you write it down. And 3% of the people that actually write it down are going to accomplish it, right? Because only 3% of the people actually write their goals down. Make it specific. It cannot be, I just want to lose weight. Well, how much weight? Is it 2 pounds, 3 pounds? And be realistic about it, because you cannot just put, I want to lose 100 pounds. Well, 100 pounds in a month, 100 pounds in a year. Like, which one is it? Right? Because if you're not specific enough, it's kind of like getting in your car and going to your friend's house where you don't know where your friend lives at. And that's still giving you a lot more. How about getting in your car and driving, not knowing where you're going, and no GPS? You have to have the GPS for your life. It's about being down to the measurable aspect of it. If you're not measuring, if it's not trackable, it does not get done. See, I'm used to metrics. Metrics runs my job life, but what gets tracked gets done. And now I completely understand why companies go by margins, companies go by P&Ls, company goes by percentages and by metrics, because that's really what helps it track. So number three is going to be your daily discipline, not your weekly, but your daily. Example, I get up at 5 in the morning to have my pre-workout meal, my supplements, and also read my emails from 5 to 5:30. 5:30 to 5:45, I actually get ready and out the door I go at 5:45. My gym class is at 6 a.m. I do that 4 days a week at the very minimum, because my goal is to gain muscle mass so I have enough muscle in my body that burns my fat off. You do you, honey. If that's not what you're doing, that's great. You follow your regimen on weight loss how you want to. This is not a we judge session. So I do that. So a couple months ago, I wanted to, change. My skin was just getting a little faded, like just not as elasticity. Like, I'm aging, right? So I changed my supplements, and in order for me to do that, I have to do that 7 days a week. But the best time to do it is in the morning, because as I go with my day, I forget about it. So 5 a.m., there you go. I wanted to change like my skin routine. So I do it at night. I do it in the morning. I changed the brand and everything that I wanted. But all of these changes, I built the discipline on a day in and day out. In a weekly basis, I track the changes, the muscle mass, how many times I actually went to the gym, etc., over a week. So your daily discipline, and then you measure it on a weekly basis. See, people ask me, where does my courage come from? And then I don't mean to burst your bubble, but it really comes from God. Like, God gives me that fulfillment and the emptiness that comes from being in a leadership position, because it gets lonely at the top. And the more I in sync with Him, the more encouragement that He gives me in order for me to rise up so that other women stand up. And I always say, the more I rise up, the more women stand up. Because, as much as we like to marinate and talk about the bad stuff and bond over bad stuff, we need to start bonding over good stuff, seeing each other win, clapping for each other when we win, right? So I learned to be selfish so that I can be selfless, so that I can go out there and pour onto women from a full cup versus an empty cup. If I'm not rested, there's no way I can go give you my best. That's why I prioritize my sleep, right? So all of these different things are what help me prioritize, and whatever you make important is what's going to actually be fruitful in your life. So if you're prioritizing things that don't serve you, things that are not in your path or aligned in your goals or anywhere near what you want to do or want to be, then that's where you're depleting your energy in the wrong areas. So your homework today is going to be write your goal down, and you're going to really dig deep down in here and find out your why. And when you do those two things, you have to do the third thing. The third thing is going to be, make sure that you put the daily things that you have to do to accomplish number two, which is the goal. Put a date, make it reasonable. Okay. One, the why. Two, set the goal, date, reasonable. Three is to go and out there and do the daily work habit. Okay. So in prayer today, I close. Lord, I ask you to please come into this room where women feel safe and help them set their goals, set their whys, and to also help them do the daily discipline that it takes so they can track on a weekly basis. I ask that you give them the courage to stop self sabotaging because, Lord, you and I know that those are the real reasons why they're not accomplishing their goals. I ask you that you give them the energy that you pour into their heart and that they seek you, Lord, because you are the mighty King of all hearts and you fill us completely when we're aligned in the path of the God given gifts that you gave us. In the name we ask, Lord, amen. Follow me on Instagram. And if you don't have anyone to share that goal with that you wrote down, send it to me and I'll be happy to cheer you on that written goal. Till next time, girl.